Lalit, can we start?
Yes, sir, you can start, sir.
Sure. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vijay Veer Singh. I'm the Vice President with Amity Innovation Incubator and based out of Noida. So before we start with the session, let me just introduce you, give a background about Amity Innovation Incubator. Amity Innovation Incubator has been in the industry for almost like 13 plus years and has been supported by ministries such as Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and Atal Innovation Mission, which is the Niti Aayog, as one of the established incubators. The vision of the incubator is to ensure that a comprehensive ecosystem is in place to nurture entrepreneurs and strengthen innovation at the grassroots level. So we have been supporting ideas from the student side of it, as well as the early stage startups are part of our mandate. So far, as I mentioned, we have been in the industry for almost 13 plus years. We have incubated and supported more than 500 plus ventures. 55 plus investment facilitated so far. When I say investment, it's from our investment vehicle, Amity Capital Ventures. 100 plus mentors on board. These are some of the industry experts who are associated with us and have been supporting our startups throughout their journey. More than 7,000 plus jobs have been created by our physical incubators. More than 1,000 plus patents filed. We have industry collaboration with many of these giants like IBM, Amazon, Microsoft, and today you will see one of this session is all about collaboration with Zoho, and Zoho will be taking care about today's session. Mentor World portal is where, as I mentioned, a lot of industry experts are there, and at any given point of time, not only the incubated startup, even the startups who are not a part of Amity Innovation Incubator, they can also utilize the mentor pool. We are present in 17 locations, that's through the virtual network, and physically in 7 locations, we have Gurugram, Lucknow, Gwalior, Jaipur, Raipur, and Mumbai, and Noida being our headquarters. Global reach, we are present in New York. That's the incubation side of it. Whatever I'm talking here is where the incubation center is there. So we have New York as the presence. We have Singapore, Mauritius, Dubai as a 10,000 square feet of dedicated incubation center. A portfolio of startups that we have supported, we are completely sector agnostic. We have been supporting startups in all field, whether it's a food technology or IoT based, AI, agri-tech. So anyone have a good idea, they can reach us for the incubation and funding support. Amity Capital Ventures, this is our investment vehicle, and as stated in earlier slide, we have supported 55 plus investment and dozen of exit has already happened through this. Ecosystem partners, technology partners, those are part of our ecosystems: AWS, Google Cloud, PayU, HubSpot, Zoho. Many of you already who are part of our incubation center, they might be using Zoho credits. That's thank you Zoho for extending those credits for all our startups. We have investment partners, Indian Angel, Lead Angel, Let's Venture, 100x, and many more which are part of our ecosystem. As a part of the incubation, we are also providing soft lending platform, and this is possible because of our global reach. So any startup, let's say even from India, if they want to scale to US or probably to Middle East, so our presence there is already there. So from the day one itself, all the support, whatever is required by the startup, will be providing them through the soft lending side. Today's session, which is more business importance of the website and application monitoring for startup. And let me just introduce the speaker for today, Mr. Raj Lakshmi Srinivasan. She's the Director Product Management as Zoho Corp. She, as called Razi, In her 20 years journey with the company, she has gained extensive experience ranging from database scaling and network monitoring to application performance tracking and end user experience management. She currently leads the application performing monitoring section in Site 24/7, a cloud-based all-in-one monitoring product from Zoho Corp. She has an engineering degree in computer science from the College of Engineering, Chennai. She's a fitness freak, and when she's not working, you can spot her running marathons, participating in cleanup drives, and traveling places along with her 3 little ones. Thank you, ma'am, for being a part of this session, and we are looking forward for a very interactive session on the same, on the subject. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vijay, for that lovely introduction. I hope I'm audible. You're able to hear me and
yes, very much
clearly. Yeah, fine. I'll just share my screen. Right. Fine. Good afternoon, everybody. So, assuming everybody have joined from India, so I just extended my. It's an afternoon time for everyone because this being virtual platform, and which I also introduced that you have global presence. So virtual has only made us all connected from wherever we are in the world. So yeah, physical presence doesn't become a barrier to get connected and to share our knowledge and experience. So that's the advantage of doing these webinars. But the major disadvantage is for the presenter. We don't know who are all there on the other side. It is just that we are sitting in the, at least I'm sitting in my room within the 4 walls, looking at the pinhole camera, talking, assuming there are people on the other side. So that is a great minus for the presenter, because as presenters, we need to connect with the audience. Are you in line with what we are talking? So that's the great thing that we miss. But anyway, given the current situation, I think we should be fortunate that we are able to do this in spite of the pandemic, while a lot of people are going through tough times in their lives. So I hope all of you are safe and healthy wherever you are, and that's the primary thing to take care in the current situation. All right. The topic that we'll be discussing today are about the business importance of website and the application monitoring for startups. So before we started the discussion, I was just discussing with Vijay, or asked him about the incubation center and people who are all involved in this. And he also gave a brief intro of, they have been doing this for the past 10 plus years or so, 10 to 15 years. It's so nice to see that the startups or the entrepreneurs are nurtured, and they have a platform where they can be groomed, and they get proper funding there as well. So in that aspect, so as startups, and when you want to take your business at the global level, take it in the digital world, then what are all the important aspects that you need to know? All of us will definitely have a website. So what is that you need to know with respect to monitoring them? Do you need to monitor? Is it relevant? Is it important? Those are some things that we will cover as part of the session. So this will be, I'll have some 35-minute presentation. So I'll just quickly run through my presentation. Meanwhile, wherever you have some queries or concerns, questions, anything that you want to ask, please feel free to post it in the question box. I'll be happy to answer all of them towards the end of the session. And we can also have it as an interactive session. We can unmute, talk, and discuss on problems or ideas and share thoughts. That can happen towards the end of the session. And some of you, I don't know, possibly that is something that I miss, as I said, in the audience. I've given the same presentation. I've talked about the same topic, shared the same experiences at various other places too. Now things have become all virtual, content available everywhere, but whatever is for this topic, for this audience, this is the relevant topic that I can talk about. So if at all you have already listened to me say this, or if you have listened elsewhere, pardon me for that. And it is okay, even if it is a repeat content. Sometime when we listen to a content, or when we listen to some thought processes, some other thoughts might occur for us. So with that note, possibly we'll just get into the discussion. The topics that we'll be discussing today are about to set the context of the discussion. I'll be touching upon the digital transformation, the journey, and then about the importance of experience. What is an experience, and particularly what is a digital experience? What is the connection, and why is it important? And the group, the audience is startups. So startup focus and the challenges for them, and the role and importance of monitoring tools. If at all you have to use, why should you use? If you don't use, what are the impact you'll be facing later on in your business or in your career? And then about some monitoring solutions available. So as Vijay was talking, I think most of you would have benefited from the Zoho's program too. Zoho has a startup program, and you have the credits and you're enjoying them. So Site 24/7 as a product is a monitoring product, and that's a product from Zoho. It's just in a different name. So that's a monitoring tool that we use ourselves in our organization, entire Zoho. And it's almost 15 years ago when we went about the cloud adoption. We felt the need for it, and we have been using it. Possibly, I will, towards the end, I could give a brief on how it would be helpful for you too. That's towards the end. Okay. Digital transformation. So this is not something new. All of us are aware of this. Every business or any business that you take around us, be it automobile or finance, retail, education sector, name any business and any sector, all of them have been greatly impacted by this digital transformation, and that which is a journey by itself. And this did not start somewhere in the recent past. I should say almost 17 years ago. 2005 was the time frame when this digital journey started picking up. During that, there was a crucial transformation called as the Web 2.0 movement, where all along that time frame, the web was only considered as a medium of consuming content. People just sit back and you read the news, or you just look at the photos and videos available. But with Web 2.0, the web was not just considered a medium of consuming content, but the web was also considered a medium of contributing content. So people started writing their own blogs and uploading it. People started taking photos and videos and uploading it. So now that became all the content being available in the cloud, then managing that content around it and the collaborative working around it started picking up. And that was the birth of the digital journey or the cloud journey, which started way back in 2005. From that time period, every industry is in various transformation, various levels in that journey. Not that every industry has completely moved to the cloud. We do have still a lot of businesses which are on premise, which have not gone to the cloud. But I should say this pandemic has only accelerated this transformation, because you don't have a choice. If you have to continue your business, you have to take it to the cloud. You can't say I will have it only in my premise. There is no option of people coming to the premise. So to give examples, the schools have all become online classes. We never thought that for the last 1.5 years, the children are all at home attending online classes, at least in the part of, in India where we live, most of us, that was not the case. Possibly the online classes were there in the Western regions. But today, all our children are undergoing online classes, conferences, meetups, and this very own web seminars, which I would have loved to do it in person, is all now virtual. The gyms have all now become fitness apps, and any and every shopping is now mostly done only online. So all that you need today is a high-speed internet connection and a mobile device at your hand. You can do anything and everything from wherever you are in this world. That is the pace at which things are transforming. So if these are the cases for different industries, how has this impacted IT? Has IT itself been impacted, if we have to say? So yes, it has undergone transformation. This is how a typical client-server architecture used to be before digital transformation. where we used to have a backend component where you have your web server, your application server, your database servers, all of them in one corner of your office physical premise, and you connect using your client. Most of the time, the client connection used to be even within the same office. There wasn't any internet connectivity at all. But after the transformation, it is almost transformed to like this. The client server architecture, if you have to say, the applications that we write, everything is now available on the cloud, be it the monitoring applications or the collaborative tools, the communication tools that like the one that we are using, or any platform components, the storage or the queues, databases, to the infrastructure component, which comprises of your compute engine, the block storage, network, firewall, router. All of them is now available on the cloud as service. And as startups or as business owners, you have to focus only on your business logic. That is what is important. Rest of it can be used as services. And you connect from anywhere in the world using any of the devices. This is how typically the IT itself has been transformed too. So let's quickly look at some stats. So if you have to say, as of March 2021, there are almost 4.54 billion internet users, and 1.92 billion people around the world are doing online purchases. Most of it is only online. And when we talk about websites, there are 2 billion websites on the World Wide Web, and every day 100,000 domains are getting registered. You are one among that 100,000 that is getting registered if you are going to register a new domain. See, if we talk about when, as I said in the very beginning, when we want to take our business on the global level, the front end for that is our website, the domain. That is how you take your business to the global level, where people from anywhere in the globe will be able to access them. That can be the base business that you do, could be anything, but that does require a page, a web page, or a web application that can take care of all the other entities. So that is crucial. And when we are all assuming that most of the startups, we all wanted to take it to the global front, at least in the IT world. And then that being the case, the core area is your website. The core thing is your domain. So if this is the case, how are you going to differentiate? How is that there is going to be enormous competition in any field that you take? How do you make sure that you differentiate your product with respect to competition? How do you make sure that you are able to acquire customers? And how do you make sure that you retain them as happy customers? So to make that differentiation with respect to competition, there could be many things that you do. That's what we call as USPs. What is your unique selling proposition or unique selling point? Of all the USPs that you want to think of for your product, the important thing is experience. The end user experience is important. The experience could be in any form. It could be in the way you have presented your content in the website, or it could be the way your sales representative picks the phone call and talks with the customer. In your case, in startup, possibly if the team is only 2 or 3, you wear all different multiple hats. You will be your sales representative, you will be your marketing person, you will be your support engineer, you will be your developer, you will be the quality engineer, everything. All people play different roles. Whatever be the roles played, the differentiation that you bring about, the way you write an email to your customer, the customizations and configuration options that you give in the UI, the automations that you provide. There are simple things which you don't want the customer to come and do. It can be done automatically in the product itself. Those are all the small things that matters, that enhances the experience of the user, which will act as a great USP for your product. So the end user experience is important. When we are talking about the subject of experience, I'm reminded of this book by Kathy Sierra. The name of the book is Badass: Making Users Awesome. So this is a book, one of my favorite books, and this will give you a different perspective of how to look at customers, how to gather customers, and how to make sure that you can have your customers as happy customers. There are many tidbits that are given in this book, and I'm just going to share some 2 or 3 screenshots from that book, which will be relevant to this discussion that we are having. And this is a great eye opener for any person who wanted to get more customers and make them users a happy one. So there is this question in this one of the pages in the book, which goes like this: which would you rather have a user feel? It's not about what you want your user to want, it is how you want your user to feel. And there are 4 options that the author gives. You have to choose only one. You cannot choose many of them. Such a case, what is that you will choose? Let's look at the options. Option A: this product is awesome. Do you want your users to have a feeling that this product is awesome? Assume you are the owner of the product, the startup that you are building the product. Do you want them to have the feeling the product is awesome? Or the company is awesome, the company that is building the product is awesome? Do you want your users to have that feel? Or this brand is awesome, this brand that's owned by the company that is building the product is awesome? It might look tricky. I can choose any of these answers. That's what most of us will feel. But she goes on to say, none of this. There is one more which you have to take care, and that is, I am awesome. Make the user have a feeling that they are awesome because they are using the product. But we all must be thinking, right? People don't actually talk like that. Nobody says, I am awesome because of this product. They only say, I love this product, or this app is amazing. This is a snippet from the book. So whatever questions that we will have, she has already captured it in the book and gave answers for all of them too. So she goes on to say that when a user, he or she says, this product is amazing, you should see what it does, they mean, I am amazing, you should see what I can do with that. When you get such an user, that you should see what all the user will do. There are so many other things. I'm just taking important factors here. When you have a user feel that they are awesome, they go about doing all these things. They remain loyal. They will tolerate any problem that is there in the product because they have that extra feeling towards the product that they are using. They will resist competition. Even if there are competitions which wants to grab people away, they will resist that. They will not move. And they will go and talk about your product, evangelizing, telling and convincing people, free marketing. That's very, very important. We all go most of the time by word of mouth and what our friends recommend. So that they will do. And they will form groups and try to address any question that people have before even, online forums and groups are all available. Before the product owner comes and addresses the question, there will be these die-hard fans who would want to address the problem. So that is what people will do if you have if they have a feeling that they are awesome. And that is what is successful users, and that is the secret for sustained success. If you want to be successful on a longer run, we are all starting our businesses not just to close it in the next 1 or 2 years. We want to be successful throughout. We want to be successful. We want to see sustained success. Then the secret is successful users. For successful users, user experience is important. And we talk about user experience. In a physical environment, the experience is different. If you're visiting a physical store, the way they greet, from how they demonstrate the product, that experience is different. But in the digital world, digital experience is important. Digital experience could be in any form that I talked earlier. So when we talk about the digital world and user experience, there is this Forbes article which talks about 100 stats on digital transformation and user experience. I've just picked 5 of them here for our discussion. So 89% of companies have adopted digital first strategy. When they start itself, they only start in the digital world. They don't do anything on premise. 86% of companies believe cloud technology is critical for digital transformation. This is something we should keep in mind. We want to adopt the latest technology. Then, we want to move to the cloud, then we must be open to adopting the relevant technologies. I cannot say that I want to move to the cloud, but I will still use my legacy systems and legacy code. No, certain cases you may have to rewrite it. So companies have started believing that using relevant technologies is critical for digital transformation. 67% of consumers will pay more for a great experience. Get it right? So if you have better experience, you will automatically get paid more. Your product will be paid more. And 87% of companies think digital will disrupt their industry, and they have started working towards it. And it's not just startups or small SMBs. Even enterprises have started feeling the importance for this, and 83% of enterprise workloads are in the cloud. So all of these points, the references from the book, the stats from the articles, all of this are to show that digital experience is important. You're all in the digital world, you're all building products in the digital world, which means the digital experience is important. And let's quickly look at the various layers in any cloud architecture. Any business, you could be part of any business, but as I said, your web page is your asset, the IT asset for you. And if you have a web page, which means we are building an application. So building an application in the cloud has various layers. That's what is called as cloud architecture, which comprises of 4 different layers, but the startup's focus can only be on these 2 layers. What the end user layer, which comprises of the web browsers, the mobile apps, and the tablets using which the user is going to connect to your application, the underlying application where actually the business logic is hosted. Let's forget about, or let's not worry about the platform and the infrastructure layer, which we will anyway be using other vendors. So our area of focus for startups is these 2 layers, the end user layer and the application layer. Possibly it's to find out what is happening in these 2 layers. If you have an application, you have built an application, or you have built a web page. That's what is an application too. If you have a web application, and you need to know how your application is performing, or how your application is responding, not just from where you have hosted it. Assuming you have hosted it from your headquarters, Noida, you should know how the response is, not just for the users in that area where you have hosted. You should also be knowing how the response is for people who are connecting from Chennai, or people who are connecting from Mumbai. Could be from any place. Amity had a website, and there are 7 different physical locations. You should know how the experience is from all the different locations. Are there any errors? Are there any failures? What if somebody else is facing problem? It could be because there could be many reasons for why a problem is being faced. I'm not able to access this meeting, could be because there is no problem with Zoom. That could be a problem in my ISP connection. Yesterday, I had an Airtel downtime. I wouldn't have been able to join when my broadband was down, I wouldn't have been able to join the meeting at all. This has nothing to do with the application development. So this is an end user's problem. And particularly from my location, the problem is only in my location, not in any other place. So you should know the location where the problem is. You should know the location details. You should know the device details. You should know the ISP details. Those are all the different details which you should know to know exactly what the problem is for end users. Similarly, in your application, it could be anywhere. It could be in the database call that you are making, or it could be you have written the code in there is an unnecessary loop in your code. Could be anywhere. So these 2 layers, it's not actually called as layers. These 2 are critical for you to know what is happening in this, so that you have a better application and website performance. When we are talking about, we'll talk in detail about the website and application in further slides too. But before I move there, since we are talking about startups, and the audience are also mostly predominantly who are in the startup and in various stages of their startup, I thought I should give some tips. What are the areas to focus for any startup business? I can even do a complete presentation on the startup focus, but from that, I've just picked three points that I can share here. Can you tell me what is, okay, you cannot tell me, you just have to think and relate to if what I'm saying makes sense. So what is common among these words that are here, the elements that are here? Human hair, peacock tail, shark teeth, amber, tungsten, bamboo, ostrich feather, tortoise shell. There are different names or different elements that is put here. Can you think as to what is common among these? Now, yes, I'm sure some of you would have guessed it. If it was a physical meeting, it would have been easy for an interactive session. So the point here is tungsten is an element, or these are all the different elements, not just these. There are 200 more elements which Edison tried and failed before he found that tungsten worked on electric bulbs. Why I'm bringing this here is we have been a startup at Zoho. When we started in 96, it was just a small startup and people did not even know about our company, that we existed. And today, if you see, there are 50 different products from Zoho, which most of you are using. There are 200 other products which we tried and that did not see the limelight at all. So as startups, it is important for you to keep trying. There will definitely be some portions that will not work, or there will definitely be some failures that happens. But what is more important is your interest towards trying things. So if you are willing to fail interestingly, you will tend to succeed. Form a team among yourself who's in line with what you want to do and keep trying. It is okay to fail. Not every idea succeeds. And if we want to sit in a room and I want to now come up with an idea, we will never know when an idea strikes. That's how startups work. Startup is mostly, it will be chaotic. You may not be able to have a big plan. So that's not how startups work. Set a goal, make a plan, get to work, stick to it, and reach the goal within that time frame is not how startups work. That's a that's a wrong way of doing things. That doesn't mean I'm saying that you should not have a goal at all. You have to, but keep smaller goals and keep it interesting. So if I jump, there are 3 different ways which I can try. If I go in one way, how many more interesting points I have, rather than if I try in the other way, how many less interesting points that I have. Make it interesting. Every day should be interesting to come and work in the office or on the product that we are working. That will make us progress towards better vantage points. Sometimes milestones could be a blocking factor. Try to remove that and move towards make progress in your product. And when you select a team, covet interestingness in them. Make sure that all the team members that you have, hardly startups will have very few teams in their very few members in your initial stages. All of them should be aligned with the goal, whatever you want to produce at the end of the experiment or trial that you are making. So, and it has to be very interesting. If it is monotonous, boring, if you don't have the interest towards working, then you will not be able to see success. Covet interestingness among people. So those are some things that I wanted to talk about. So it is okay if you fail, keep trying. Even if you fail, just make sure that you're able to find the faults, find the problem, fix it, and keep trying more and more. Form a team who are in line with your idea, and make sure that you do releases in small steps. Those are some things that will help you in your longer run in your startup journey. Okay, now let's come back to our focus of websites and applications monitoring. So how does website performance affect shopping behavior? Let's again look at some stats. For this example, I'm taking a retail shopping behavior of a retail website. It could be any website that belongs to you and the product that it possesses. So every second counts. So suppose you have a website and the web page is loading. What time does it take to load? Does any point in time have you measured it, or have you seen it? Have you tried checking that? Some pages will take 5 seconds. Some pages will take 8 seconds. But the average page load time is almost 2 seconds. That's what at least industry standards expect. Anything more than that, people don't have the patience. People will just switch to other pages. So every second count. So we are talking about 2 seconds and 5 seconds. You should know where exactly this time is spent. Even if it is 5 seconds, you can just split it into milliseconds and you should know where the time is being spent. Some pages will take 10 seconds to load. But keep in mind, in this fast moving internet world, nobody has the time or patience to sit through pages that are going to take forever to load. Agree with me, right? We all move to the next page. If it's not loading, do a refresh. How many times we do a refresh if it is not loading? And when you are in any search engine also, when you search for something, How many of us go to the second or third or fourth page to see for results? Most of us settle with the first page. Hardly we go to the second page. First page has 10 results. Hardly we go to the second page. And you want your business to be listed in the first page. Your performance is important. Every second counts. So that's what this survey also talks about. So if you have to plot a graph of your page load time in seconds to page abandonment in percentage, as the page load time increases, the percentage of people who abandon the page is also increasing. And 47% of consumers expect a web page to load in 2 seconds or less. That's what people expect, just 2 seconds. 79% of people are less likely to buy from the same site when they are dissatisfied for the first time. So your first impression is important. If you are not happy, if people are not satisfied, they don't come back to the same site again. They just move away. 52% of people felt quick page loading time is important for site loyalty. So this loyalty is something associated with brand image, and that's an intangible measure. You cannot directly measure it. But if you want people to remain loyal to you, the page loading time is also important, is what the survey says. A delay of even 1 second can decrease customer satisfaction by 16%. 44% of people are likely to tell their friend about a bad experience online. We all do this, right? When we go do some purchase and that website is not performing fine, or we are not able to complete with the payment, could be some bad experience that we had there. We will definitely tell our friends not to try there. Most of the time, we may not even share our good experiences, but when we have a bad experience, we definitely share them, because we don't want our friends to face the same bad experience. It is in the goodwill for our friends, but bad for the business. So that is important. So when we put all this together, there is a formula to calculate the IT downtime. So cost of downtime per hour, how can you calculate it? I've just simplified it based on so that it is easy for everybody to understand. There are 4 components to it. The first component is lost revenue. When you're going to have a downtime, there is going to be revenue loss. How do you calculate your revenue loss? Lost revenue is calculated as revenue per hour into number of hours the system has been down. So that's how you calculate your revenue loss. That is one part of your downtime. Downtime meaning if your website is down, your customers are not able to access it, you are not able to work on it. So what will be the cost involved? The second component is lost productivity. Because everything is online, because everything is digital, you're also going to work on it. There is going to be loss in productivity. And how do you calculate lost productivity? Lost productivity is calculated as employee salary per hour into number of employees into number of hours your system has been down. When you do that, that is your lost productivity. And there is a third component, which is recovery cost. Something has failed. It could be a hardware failure, it could be a software failure. You need to bring in technician and you need to replace some softwares. So there is recovery cost. The repair services, replacement part, and the lost data recovery, all those contribute to the recovery cost. And there is this fourth component, which is the intangible cost. There is no formula to measure it. Your brand image, your reputation that is lost because you're having a downtime. You go and try to purchase something from a site and the site is down. That, as we saw in other percentages too, that's going to affect your brand image. So all this put together shows what is going to be a problem when you're going to have that calculates your downtime. So which means you should make sure that your system isn't down. See, you may think that you're just hosting your website on already available infrastructure. It could be any public cloud, but the problem could be in the application code that you have written. That could cause a downtime. And if your customers are complaining that they're having an issue, and if the problem is their end, it is not even in your end, your application is fine. As the example that I was giving earlier, the problem could be in their ISP. You need to have the data at hand to show to them that this particular region, this ISP is the problem. It has nothing to do with the device. You can't just tell that without the data in hand. People will not believe. You need records, you need evidences. That is possible using monitoring. So that is the cost of downtime that you will have. So make sure that your application does not go down. And in the cloud, you don't have an option of bringing down your system at all. It has to be running 24/7 by 365 days or throughout the year. There is no option of having a downtime. Now let's look at some of the monitoring challenges. We saw that the importance, why it is all important to do. If you have a downtime, what are the problems that you will have? Let's look at some of the challenges that people face, the startup challenges. First is the availability challenge. All your application has to be up and running all the time. Industry standards expect 99.999% uptime. It's almost 100%, but it's okay. You can have here and there some downtime. That's what the industry expects. So make sure your application, the code whatever you deploy, possibly you need not worry about the infrastructure and platform, but your application should be running. There should not be any issues. If there are, when you write your application and you test it locally, it works, but make sure you are able to do some simulation and testing too, because there could be a loop in your system. And when there are 1,000 people trying to access your application at the same time, your infrastructure will scale. But if your application is having an endless loop, or if there is a buggy code in your application, that will cause a downtime, that will cause a crash. So those things have to be taken care. Availability is an important monitoring aspect. The second important thing is performance. It's not enough for you to have your system up and running all the time. It is equally important for your application and websites to do better, to have better performance, to have quicker response time. That is a crucial important factor when you take any monitoring tool. These can be achieved using tools. Now let's look at the importance of monitoring tool. Why should I be using some monitoring tool? So when I talk about the importance of monitoring tool, I've been in this industry for 22 years now. So I conducted a survey with my friends who are in the different organizations at various positions. How do companies use technologies to run their businesses to provide great user experience? And people gave me various answers, and I've just collated them to present it as technologies in businesses can be classified as one of these. They are partly cloud. Some of the businesses are fully on the cloud. Some of them are still on premise. People don't want to move to the cloud. I want the system. It could be based because of some security reasons or whatever be it. I don't want it to be on the cloud. It's on premise. Some of them are homegrown. There are still legacy systems which people write, and they write tools. They can't use any third-party tools for it. They write all that is required and maintain that too. There are still legacy homegrown systems, but most of them are apps from multiple vendors. Majority of them, even you can take, you can think through and see what are the tools that you are using. It will be mostly, now we saw two different layers. So I want to know my application's performance, you could use a different vendor tool. And I want to know how my front end is performing. What is the document download time? What is the image loading time? And how are the users using it in real time? What is the crash that is happening? I use a different tool for the front end application. It could happen like that. And when I take the entire stack, people use different tools for their platform infrastructure. That's how it happens. And when you do like that, it's going to be a hodgepodge, because you want to know what's happening across all the layers. Try integrating all of that. It's going to be an information spaghetti like this. So that followed it up with another question: is everything well? You are saying you're using these technologies and these tools. And then there came some 14, 15 different answers as to, no, we have this problem, we have this problem. So that will again take another session if we have to talk about the problems in using multi-vendor tools. So all that I wanted to say here is the success of a set of tools depends not on how well they work. It depends on how well they work together. They have to be able to talk with each other, whatever. Even if you are one of the person who's building a product, make sure that you have all the options. Whatever product you're building, there has to be import-export options. There has to be API support so that it can integrate with other tools. No, there is no one place where everything can be used by one tool. There could be in-house tools, and there has to be integration options available. How well they work together is what is important. Integration is the need of the hour in the connected world, but integrating multi-vendor tools is both complex and costlier. Complex to the extent of the Rube Goldberg's mission. I'm sure you all know about this mission. To do a simple task, there are some 12 different tasks that it does. To just wipe using a napkin, you just perform some 12 different steps. It is that complex if you try to do integration yourself. And it is costlier. You don't want to be spending money on integrating and wasting your time. You want to focus on your business. So what is the alternative? Services and tools from single vendor. It could be any vendor for that matter, where there is nice integration options within the vendor's tools itself. So with respect to websites, what are the things that you want to monitor? As we already saw, when you have a website, which is your front end, the tool that you select should have an option for monitoring for availability, monitoring the response time, monitoring the throughput. And there should be split up of where exactly it is taking more time. If it is taking 2 seconds, where is the 2 seconds being spent? With respect to milliseconds, is it in the DNS time? Is it in the SSL handshake? Is it in the first byte time? You need to know that so that you can work on it and you can improve the performance. So that is important. And it is not only important for you to know the performance from the location it is hosted. You need to know the performance from across the globe. It's not possible for you to, you're just a startup. You cannot have people sitting across the globe to test that system from all those regions. The tools can help you in that. There can be 100 different locations, or based on where your customers are, you can choose the location and get the details. Like in each of these locations, is my system up and running? And when it is up and running there, what is the split up of response time? Because the split up could be different in different regions. And one, it could be in one place, possibly because of the browser, possibly because of the internet connectivity there, could be any reason. The download time will be different. The DNS time will be different. The connection time will be different. You need to know each of them so that you know what the problem is and you can work on it and fix them. And when we talk about websites, it's not just websites and locating from multiple locations. There are other related monitors around it. All of us, when we write web applications, we do an equivalent mobile application. Nowadays, most of it are just mobile applications. There are not even web applications available, because every individual has a mobile phone. Even kids have a phone now, because that's the world we are in. So there are applications. When you write mobile applications and when there is a web application, the application depends mostly on the REST APIs. You need to know and monitor if the REST APIs are performing fine. That's a crucial factor for you to calculate the performance of your mobile application. And you also have to take care of the transactions. That it's not just if one API is working or one transaction is working. There could be a sequence. If we talk it in retail business, from the time you log in, you go search for the product, you download or you add it to the cart, and then you make payment and check out. All these steps have to be working fine. Even if there is a problem in one of these steps, will affect your business. And that even if there is a problem in one of these steps from any of the locations, all these steps have to be working fine from all the locations. So those are all transactions, recording and playback options, which the tools can provide. And when you have a website, you will definitely be having an SSL certificate. People don't rely on just, we don't trust non-HTTPS communication. By default, it is only you have to have an SSL certificate. So you will have a domain registered, you will have an SSL certificate that is purchased. These are all time bound. If they expire, then your system will be marked as it is not supported as SSL. Then customers will face problems, you will lose them. And if your domain expires, that is the greatest asset. Somebody else can go and purchase your domain. Then you are at loss, because that is your identity. So your domain should be renewed before it is expired. Wherever these time-bound things are there, you must be able to set notification and thresholds, and you must get alert. You must be alerted. Somebody has to be sending you emails and SMS to alert you, saying that there is only one more day for you to, one more month or 1 week or 1 day to renew your SSL certificates or domains. So those things are possible using monitoring tools. So it's not just, okay, it's just a website. What is there to do in that? I've just covered only 10% of what are the other things that you have to monitor with respect to a website. So there are a lot more that has to be taken care. And most of the time we'll have a feeling that I'm just a startup. Why should I now worry about all these monitoring? No. When you are in a business and when you are having it in the global presence, you cannot bring it down at a later point. You cannot say, okay, I'll have a downtime and then try to fix what the problem is. No, you don't have that option, which means you have to have tools. You have to be using tools. It could be any tools. There are a lot of free tools available too, so that you are taking care of all these things. Those are the metrics that you have to focus with your websites. Now, with respect to your application, the web application that you are writing, you can write it in any platform. It could be written in Java, .NET, Ruby, PHP, Node, or Go, Python, Go, any language that you want to write, or the direct mobile native applications that you are writing. You need to know exact line of code that is having problem. That is when you know your application is taking 4 seconds to respond, but you should also know what is the method that is taking more time. Only then it will be easy for you to fix. And it is not easy to debug just by putting some system prints, redeploy every time, then I will go find out what the problem. That's not possible in cloud applications. You have to make use of tools. You must be able to get the throughput, how many times people are accessing my system. You must be able to get the response time, and the response time split up to, is it spending more time in a cache query, or is it spending more time in a database query? Is it there is more time that is spent in a file writing? Could be anywhere. Only if you know where the problem is, you will be able to fix them. And that the application monitoring tools can help find the trace, exact line that is having problem, exact method that is having problem, exact query that is having problem, along with the line numbers. This will help you to fix problems easier. And transaction is, from the start, what you do in the browser to the request comes to the server, processing happens, response is sent back to the server. A single and displayed there. A single transaction can have millions of method calls. Only when we put it in production, we will know those issues. There are so many method calls and so many external SQL calls that are being happening in a production environment. You need to have the metrics in place to fix them. And when we talk about traces, we are in the world where we are moving from the monolithic architecture to microservice container orchestration. When you are starting to use containers, each container will be spawned and deployed on its own. And each container can do its own functionality, which is written in its own language. All of this put together is what is an application, in which case you have to find the trace across all these applications. Cross-application tracing, the distributed tracing is important to know exactly where the problem is. Because a problem could be in another function that is being written in another container. That has to be figured out. That's when you will be able to fix them. So that is with respect to application. So that brings almost to the end of my presentation. So there are many tools available in the market. Site 24/7 is one such tool that I just talked about the website and the application, but there are a lot more monitoring that it can do. On top of the collected data, AI will be applied, and you will be able to get all your metrics, and you will be able to get alerts, reports, all that is required. And Site 24/7 is a monitoring tool that is hosted on Zoho's data center. Zoho has its own data center. Site 24/7 has been in the industry for 15 years now. And Zoho, for the past 25 years, when we started cloud, we have our own data centers in 10 different data centers in 5 different regions, one in US, one in Europe, one in India, one in China, one in Australia. You can choose your data center so the data resides within the geographical boundary of that particular region. Being a cloud provider, we do take privacy, security, and compliance seriously. We undergo stringent audits for all the certifications that are required so that users' data is safe and secure. So the key takeaways from this session are, we saw the importance, how the digital transformation is impacting us, and the importance of experience, the digital experience, startups' area of focus, and the challenges they have with respect to monitoring their websites or their applications, the importance of monitoring them. If you don't monitor, what are the impact? What if the system goes down? What are the impact? So those are some things which we saw. Site 24/7 can help IT teams deliver great user experience. So just take a screen grab of this. We'll also be posting this in the chat as a token of giving back to the community. I know startups have a lot of funding requirements, and they are in their early stages too. You sign up, and there are other tools too. Site 24/7 being a monitoring tool, and you sign up using this URL, you get 1 year free subscription of the monitoring tool. You can monitor your websites or your SSL certificate or your domain free for a year, and your application too. So I just want to finish off with this quote. We shape our tools and they in turn shape us is one of my favorite quote. What this quote means is the tools that we have in our hands have a great impact in our day-to-day life. Because if we have a hammer in our hand, everything looks like a nail. Even if it is a screwdriver, we will end up only hitting it because we only have a hammer in our hand. So it is important for you to choose the right set of tools. If you don't do that, depending on your business, depending on your customers, depending on what is your requirement, you have to choose the right set of tools for you. There is no hard and fast rule that everybody has to use the same thing. Every business is different. Every application is different. Depending on your needs, choose the right set of tools because that plays an important role. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time so long, and I'm open for questions.
As startup founders, please send your queries in the chat or Q&A box. In case someone wants to have a specific discussion, please raise your hand. We'll unmute. Lalit, can you unmute Swami? Lalit, you there?
Okay, I can read the question. There is one in the chat box.
Yes.
So Swami has asked, I have developed my website through WordPress, but website is loading very slow. Perfect. I went to Speed Insights tool of Google, but could not make it correctly to make fast because I'm non-background of coding. What can I do? See, okay, usage of tools, most of the tools doesn't require any coding background. So your website is loading slow. You can use any other tool, or even Site 24/7 can help you with that. So you just have to monitor. You just give your website, and whatever is the time it takes. You're saying it is slow. It could be 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds. As I showed some screenshots, there will be a split up of response time of where it is taking more time. First is the identification of the problem. The problem identified is half the problem solved. So if you can find out where it is taking more time, and definitely tools will help you do that. You need not know any coding at all. It's just what I showed in the screen. It will show you where is it in the back end or is it in the front end. And if you see that it is taking time in your backend application, again, the application performance monitoring section can help you exactly find the line of code that is having issue. So that it could be because when we write, we don't want to write it with write a buggy code. Could be some careless mistake, or it could be some loop which we have written. We never thought that this is going to take more time. It could be some resources have not been closed. That's occupying more space and memory, and that's causing the slowness in your issue, in your website. So there are n number of reasons. Finding the reasons is possible using tools, and Site 24/7 can also help you with that. And if any one of you is interested in a one-on-one demo of the product, we can arrange. Just send out a mail to us, because I've not touched any product section. I've just given the importance of it. We can arrange for a one-on-one demo if required. I hope I have answered that. If you want to ask any further, please raise it in the chat, or you can unmute and discuss with me. I see one more question from Tushar. Being a non-tech founder, how do I identify which is the right tool and what are the parameters to be taken care before launching a product? Perfect. It could be I think this is the problem that, not a problem, the fear that people have. I don't have a technology background. How do I make use of the tools? Most of the tools that we have today are all just UI friendly, or you can tell is very simple to understand. All said and done, you are going to have a website, even if you are a non-technical founder. And we are talking this only for people who have website and taking it in the global market. When you have a website, definitely there will be a domain and a URL, and you need to monitor them from multiple places. And I talk about monitoring from multiple places, configuring threshold. All these are automatically taken care of by the tools. You need not do anything even within the tool. All that you have to do is sign up, configure your domain, that is that whatever domain you use, and just possibly if you want, you can set some interval. Otherwise, everything else is default taken care of in the tool. Just the domain name should be sufficient enough for you to get the details. Looking at the product, you can, and there is, if you're trying to use Site 24/7, the team is always ready to have a demo to demonstrate what are the parameters you have to monitor and what are the places you have to look into and how to debug it too. So those can be arranged in a session.
Raji, maybe you can talk about the cost factor here. That's perhaps what the reason Tushar has asked us for.
Meaning?
Like how our products are, priced and how that will help in the longer run.
Okay, so with respect to Site 24/7 cost is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, so Site 24/7.
General, how we pass value.
Generally, what we do is Site 24/7 or any other product we have, there is a 30-day evaluation after which you will have to buy, and Site 24/7 also has a free version for you to monitor. Is that what you wanted me to cover, Avinash, or you wanted to add to it? You can add.
Yeah. So Tushar, the thing is, Zoho Corp is a privately held company and it's been profitable since inception. We are almost priced 1/10 of what the industry has been pricing the products. So the way how we are able to do it is, we have been, investing a lot on the R&D, and by virtue of doing that, we're not really a sales or marketing pushy organization. We pass on that benefit to the customers. And that's how we have something called as a freemium version, which is nothing but the limited capabilities of the enterprise product is available free of cost, no questions asked. It's free for lifetime. And you can leverage the free version. And that's how, the 1-year pack, which I've shared with you on the chat as well, it's one of the ways how we have been giving back to the society or the community at large.
Okay, thank you, Avinash.
Raji, there is a query from Ajay.
Okay.
Ma'am, can you highlight?
Yeah, ma'am, Ajay has asked, can you highlight your inputs on latest technologies for developing e-commerce websites? Okay. Also, how are these new technologies more scalable than the old ones, which are being widely used in the market? Okay. When you want to develop an e-commerce website or developing any website for that matter, as I already said, you need not worry about the infrastructure or even writing any application. If it is just website, there are a lot of drag and drop website builder tools. You can, at the rate at which we have today, you can build your entire website in just 2 hours time. That's how the technologies have evolved, and there are a lot of website building tools too, which you can make use of. Not just for e-commerce website, could be any website. The only thing you should have is, you should have the domain that you may have to purchase and use it for building, and you should know what you want to put it in your website. That is your idea. So you must know what all you want to project, what are the tabs you want to have, what are the forms you want to have, what is the information that you want to have. Those are the things that you should take care of while building a website. And when we have to talk about, and the second part of the question is, how are these more scalable than the old ones which have been widely used in the market? If I have to say about the website building itself, so earlier, possibly the traditional ways used to be, there is no SaaS itself. We have to host it on our own app servers. That's how it was. and scaling that was a challenge. Today, there are many public providers available, and the scalability is taken care of by them. You just have to deploy it, and if there are going to be hundreds of users or thousands or millions of users landing on you, the application, you have to configure it, and auto scale and auto descale is all available. So those are the advantages. The scaling advantages comes in the cloud and with the public providers that are available. But if your business doesn't require them, it's not that because everybody else is using a public cloud and going into setting up an auto scale doesn't mean you have to do the same thing. Depending on your business requirement, depending on your needs, depending on your customer needs, set it rightly, set it using the right tools. Okay, Tushar has asked, would some sort of storytelling be relevant on the website? Likewise, the content is the key. Yeah, content is the key. It again depends on what is your business and who are your target audience. So based on that, you can decide the style that you want to take it. It can be very simple, just pointers, or you can even, if it is relevant for you, for your business, you can even have it as a simple storytelling style. So that again depends on the business impact. We cannot have a storytelling session for an educational website, or that will vary. So depending on your audience, choose what style you want to make it. And any content, as long as the it is simple and it is straightforward, without much of jargon, and reaching the audience the correct way, whatever is required, whatever you want to tell, that actually sells. It's not that I want to bring in all the flashy words into my content and write it or make it look very stylish. Make it simple. What is the use case you're addressing? Just talk about that, see if it solves the problem. Give the problem statement and solution that reaches the audience better.
Guys, any more questions? Please put up immediately. I think, Razi, in case any queries come, we'll take it offline. And I think this was fantastic session. In fact, a lot of learning for us also, because we never thought there is a formula for even downtime of your website, how to calculate that. And I'm sure startups all who are part of today's session might gain that kind of a insights on how to use this tool probably, and we'll connect them to you directly once we receive that request from our incubated startup, as well as from the outside who are part of today's session, and we'll connect back.
Sure.
And we look forward for further more sessions on I'm sure you come from product management background, and I think that's one area where startup need that kind of a support on how to build a product ground from zero, and you are expert in that. Down the line, we'll surely look forward for some sessions on that also. Okay. Sure. Thank you so much, Avinash, Razi, for being part of this session. It's really a privilege for us to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, audience. Thank you so much. Good day. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.